Not that long ago, but already 10 years ago, I was a student of American Studies at the University of Amsterdam with a minor in new media. So today's event about new media in the United States could not be more appropriate, and I would like to share some of my experiences between 10 years ago and now in the fields of new media and the United States. Not long after I graduated, I went to Capitol Hill to work in the House of Representatives, and right at the beginning of my fellowship there, Bush was inaugurated for the second time. So we were standing on the Mall in Washington. It was very cold and snowy, and not everybody was very excited about Bush being inaugurated again, but at least it was very exciting to participate in an inauguration. And 4 years later, when Obama was inaugurated, I was on the Mall again, and the atmosphere was so totally different. But in 2005, when Bush was inaugurated, we already heard some rumors about the next candidates, and the campaigns were actually already starting very soon after. But nobody really knew how big a role new media would play in this campaign and how it would actually change politics in the United States, but actually all over the world forever. Media have always been important in politics, a platform for politicians to share their message, but new media have led to a totally different landscape because it enables more interaction between politicians and the people. And this is what Obama and his campaign people understood very, very well, more than anyone else. So they use new media not only to communicate their message, but to also engage people from all over the country and enable them to spread the message very easily and to have their own version of why they wanted to support Obama. And it even led to new methods of fundraising in the political arena, which was also an innovation. Not only in domestic policies and governing is the United States a leader in the field of transparency and new media in government, but they're also using it in their foreign policy, which is very interesting. Hillary Clinton has made a historic speech about freedom and essential fundamental values on the internet. She called on a breaking down of the virtual walls that still exist in the world, similar to how the wall in Berlin came down after a call by an American president. So they're really trying to take a leadership position. And as a member of the European Parliament, I wish that our leaders in Europe would do the same. So I call on the commissioners to take an active stance and develop new media in foreign policy as a part of European foreign policy and the common foreign policy we're developing. But of course, I don't necessarily have to wait until others take the first step. D66, my political party, has been a leader in using new media in politics for a long time. It was actually one of the reasons why we did so well in the last European election campaign, because we used tools on the internet, social networks like Twitter and Facebook, Hives and LinkedIn to engage people in discussions about our policies and where Europe should be going. And we continue to do so while we're in the European Parliament here in Strasbourg, not so close to the people in the Netherlands, to engage them and to exchange ideas. And it's very nice that we have these tools, because previously politicians really depended on the traditional media, whether a story could be sold or whether a message was worth publishing. But now we can take the opportunities to just publish our own stories, and then especially to get the responses from people and to stay in touch that way. In Europe, we now also have a commissioner that deals exclusively with the digital agenda, Commissioner Kroes. And when we had the hearings before she was voted into office, I used Twitter to ask a question that came from someone who was also using Twitter in the Netherlands to put to Commissioner Kroes. And this action was actually labeled an innovation in politics with new media. And I think it should be the start of many more innovations to be taken to make government in Europe more transparent, more accountable and more accessible for people. I've mentioned some opportunities that new media bring, but we should also be quite aware and alert to the risks that come with the use of new media. Because when new media and technologies are in the hands of repressive regimes, such as in Iran or other dictatorships, new media can easily be used to spy on people, to filter what they're saying, to trace their actions and to even arrest people and to limit free expression and free media. So this is a responsibility we have on a political level to both use the opportunities of new media but also be well aware of the risks. And well, 5 years ago, when I was in the United States and went to the inauguration of George W. Bush, nobody knew how the world would change with new media, and look what it's brought. brought us, basically a new president, a new style of politics. But I think Obama is also aware that he's not the only one who understands new media. Also, his opponents increasingly use the internet and the tools of social media to rally people against Obama's points of view. So I look forward to the next presidential election campaign to see what new innovations will then determine who's going to be the next president and how the younger generation is going to be engaged in politics through new media.